I got a part in a Mike Leigh film. And I think that gave me the basis for a lot of what I did ever after, because his research, he doesn't write it, you write it and he edits it. And then he's written it, you know, but you research characters. And he basically threw a telephone directory at us one day and said, you're going to do a character and pick some names. We opened it, and I just went, Armstrong, because it was the first one. And I had researched it previously. It asked us to research, come in with a list of people that we knew from school and who are my age group. I was there on a one-to-one with them. We were all going in on one-to-ones. We didn't quite know who else was in the film, and we weren't allowed to talk about what we were talking to him about. And so he asked me to research, and I researched the guy I was at school with and his history and what he did. And he was trying to get into the forces, and because I was going to play a UDR man. I didn't know that at the time, and so he obviously pushed me in that direction, and that's his skill and why he's so brilliant at what he does. And he asked me to pick a name, and I went, oh, look, Armstrong, you know, I'd be quick, you know. And I remember that guy in school called Armstrong. And then he says, pick a name. And I went, well, he's a prod. And I went, Billy, you know, Billy Armstrong. And that's dead on. And then I had to go to, because the character was in the UDR at the time. It was a film called 4 Days in July. And they sent us down to Ballykindler training camp, the UDR camp down in towards Torilla. And we stayed there for a few nights, and I went down with Brian Hogg, BJ Hogg, who's sadly no longer with us, and Charlie Lawson, who ended up in Coronation Street. I think Charlie got the part because he played the UDR soldier in the Mike Leigh film as well. They'd seen him as a soldier. He ended up in Coronation Street. And the three of us went down. We weren't allowed to discuss our characters, but we went down and we learned all the running about stuff and all of that, the training gear, and we, you know, rifles and running around and doing checkpoints and all that. And then we came back. And then I turned up at a rehearsal room, and it was supposed to be my first day with what they called the brick. A brick is 4 guys. There was only 3 of us in the brick. We had an extra as well. A brick is 4 guys who go out and patrol together. So I was going to meet my other comrades who'd been together longer, and that was Charlie and Brian. So they gave me the uniform, and they gave me a dummy SLR, and I went into the rehearsal room, and it was done up as a barracks, the same as it'd been in Ballykindler. I thought, oh my goodness. And Brian was making toast or something at a wee stove. Charlie was lying on the bed. And we were going in and we were going to rehearse. We were just going to talk. And then Mike would, you know, take what stuff that we used and it was any good. And I went in and I knocked the door and it opened and there was BJ, and BJ's in the kit as well, you know, with a t-shirt. It wasn't in the full gear. And I said, how you doing? My name is Billy Armstrong. I'm part of your brick. I've been assigned. And Big BJ's eyes kind of went, and Mike Leigh was sitting in the corner. So we have to keep it up, you know. I'm Billy Armstrong. He says, all right. He says, I'm Billy Richardson. He says, that's Billy McCracken. All right, we walked into that. You know, we all picked our own names, and Mike Leigh knew rightly, and we all picked Billy.